forward bend, we run the risk of pulling a little bit too much on that SI joint in the lower back. So we have a nice release valve. Since we're standing, we can always bend the knees, and then you're going to feel a bit more release in the back, not so much tension on the hamstrings. Take your inhale, come halfway up. Feeling length through the spine and really strong activation in the upper back. Shoulder blades are drawing together, pulling down away from the neck. The neck is long. Keep your gaze down toward the floor. Exhale, fold over the legs. So that halfway up pose is another one where a lot of teachers are going to tell you, look up toward the front of the room. So if you know that you carry tension in the back of the neck, keep your gaze down to the floor. Work more on lengthening the neck. That's going to be more beneficial for you than cranking your neck so that you can look up at the top of the room. On your next exhale, softening your knees. And then we're going to sink the hips down, getting ready for chair pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up. So what we're going to do is take our block. If it's not near you, I'll put it near you so you don't have to fumble for it. But we're going to take the block in between the legs again. The feet straight forward. So check that your heels aren't too far in or you're not pigeon-toed. Toes are facing straight toward the front of the room, and that block is just a little bit above the knee joint, so we're not putting any pressure on the inner knee. Okay, now take your exhale, sink yourself into a nice challenging chair. And let's take the arms out to shoulder height so that we're not stressing the shoulders at all. Take your exhale, scoop the lower belly in, reach the tailbone down for the floor, and feel that hug with the inner thighs. Nice active inner thighs. Let's take one more inhale. Feel that inhale all the way up through the crown of your head. On your exhale, drop the hands into your heart, hold over into forward bend. Legs are still nice and active here. Now softening the knees, just a little bend. Take your inhale, sweep the arms out and up to mountain. Exhale, hands down to the heart. As we hold here, feel the big toe pressing down into the floor and feel the arches of the feet lifting up. You'll feel that line from the inside of the arch up the ankle and all the way up into the groin to keep the inner legs active. On our inhale, we sweep the arms up. This time as our exhale, we sink the hips down to come into chair pose. Just a different way to come into the pose. But really think about that scoop in the lower belly and that length through the lower back, length out through the tailbone. On your exhale, hands come into the heart, fold yourself over the legs. And then you can reach up, take that block out, place it next to you. Try to keep the feet in the same position there so that as you hold this pose without the block there, try to feel the same activation. Almost like the block was still there and you were still getting that little bit of pressure with the inner thighs. On our next inhale, we're going to step the right foot all the way back, come through a high lunge. Feel that release in your hips on your exhale. Our next exhale, left foot steps all the way back into down dog. For our down dog, feel that lift up from the arches of the feet all the way up to the groin. There's no pressure on the inner knee. So that inner knee is a really common injury in yoga, a lot of times from doing hip openers that are a little bit too deep for you. But thinking about activating that inner line in the leg is a good way to bring awareness into that part of the body and to avoid any of those issues that you might run into later. Let's take an inhale, roll forward into high plank. Feel the inner thighs hugging together here. If you can't quite maintain that length in the lower back, use the knees for support. One more inhale, and on your exhale, slowly lower down. This time, let's take the arms back along the sides of the body. And before we do anything, just working on reaching back through the fingertips. Get the arms really long. Then with our next inhale, we'll take our lift up. Lift the upper back, lift the shoulders, lift the arms. Now for pretty much any of our back bending poses, really important to keep in mind that our lower back already has that natural curve. We're working on strengthening the upper back where we tend to lose a lot of strength from bad posture, and also trying to increase the flexibility in that area of the spine. So try to feel that lift right in between the shoulder blades and try to keep the lower back relaxed. With your next inhale, lengthen the back of the neck, so turn your gaze down toward the floor and reach the back of the skull away from you. We'll take one more inhale, feeling that lift in between the shoulder blades. On your exhale, release down toward the floor. Bring the palms underneath the shoulders. Elbows stay nice and tight as you press yourself up. On your exhale, reach back through the tailbone, and then settle yourself into child's pose. Pull forward into table. Curl the toes underneath. Exhale, roll back into down dog. As you're holding your down dog, especially as you get a little bit farther along into your practice, legs are pretty warm, so you feel like you can start to really sink back into the pose. What I want you to think about is pulling a little bit out of the shoulders, so don't sink so much into the shoulder joint. What can happen is the top of the rotator cuff can start to get really angry with you. So make sure that as you deepen, you're deepening from the hips and you're not starting to hyperextend at the shoulder. From here, let's take an inhale. Lift the right leg up. Take a three-legged dog. Check your hands. Make sure that the weight is still even between the left and the right hand. Think about using the muscles along the back of the leg. So the glutes, the hamstrings, all those muscles holding the weight of the leg up. On our next exhale, we're coming into pigeon pose. We're going to bend the right knee and try to bring the shin as parallel to the front of the mat as you can get it. Place that shin down onto the mat and then release your hips down. So the right knee is going to end up behind the right wrist and the right foot is trying to make its way up toward the left hand, but that's really our gauge of how much we want this hip opener to be. So the foot farther back is going to be an easier stretch on the hip. The foot coming up toward the front of the mat is going to be a more intense stretch. And the important thing here is that we keep the hips square to the floor. Don't let yourself start to roll to the right. You might want to lift yourself up a little bit higher to keep yourself even. And you might want to take the block and slide it underneath the right side of your hip to keep yourself parallel. If you're comfortable in this hip opener and you want to go a little bit deeper, you're going to curl your left toes underneath. I'll show you this from the side. So curl your left toes underneath and start to walk your toes back until you really feel the weight of your hips sinking down. What it's going to do is bring your pelvis closer toward the floor. Then to release, bring the top of the foot to the mat. Make sure that the leg is going straight back and the heel is rolling in around. If you feel comfortable there, you can start to walk your hands down. So maybe coming onto the forearms, maybe sending the legs all the way out and just dropping the weight of the torso toward the floor. the leg. Because we're into this really extreme hip rotation, sometimes you can be leaning on a nerve. And it'll let you know, you'll just start to get a little feeling of numbness or tingling, like pins and needles, like when your hand goes numb. And then as soon as you feel that, just start to come out of the pose a little bit, readjust your leg, and find a comfortable position. More deep breaths here, really working with your exhale just to release the weight. So gravity is going to do the work for you here. On your next inhale, start to make your way back up onto the hands. Lifting the heart up. As we come up out of our pigeon pose, we're getting a nice opening through the hip flexors on the left side, and just a little bit of a back bend. Now let's curl the left toes underneath, enough to lift the left knee up off the floor. You're going to slowly pull the right foot back and step into down dog. Maybe pedal the feet back and forth. That right leg's probably going to feel a little bit stiff as you come back. So any movements that help you to loosen up, to get into your down dog. And we'll switch to the other side. Take an inhale, lift the left leg up. Lifting it straight behind you. Feeling the activation in the legs. On your next exhale, use your lower belly to draw the left knee underneath you, and then start to place the shin down toward the floor. Make sure that as you put your foot down, that you're allowing the top of your foot, it's not going to be all the way flat, the top of the foot coming toward the floor, rather than keeping the side of the foot on the floor, so that the knee doesn't feel any twisting. And then adjust the legs. Make sure that you're comfortable. If you want to take that little deepening on this side, you're going to curl the right toes underneath, kind of walk the right foot back. You'll feel that sink the weight of the hips toward the floor. Release top of the foot to the floor. Either staying up on the hands or maybe taking your exhale down to the forearms. If you feel like you're starting to sag to the left side at all, you can always take your block and scoot it underneath the left hip. Into the pose, you can always straighten the arms all the way out and drop the body weight toward the floor. Curling the right toes underneath, lift the right knee up. And then lifting the left knee up, slowly straightening the left leg back into down dog. And then maybe pedaling the feet out.